Hey guys, welcome back to Krystal Clear Ideas, where we are diligently planning towards success. I am so excited because I had a blast on my girls trip, and that led me to go ahead and record this video for you guys. This video is all about how to plan an itinerary. And this video is going to also include what an itinerary is, why you need one, and how you're going to put one together. These are the steps that we went through when we planned our girls trip, and this is the general idea of what I do when I'm traveling anywhere. So this can be used for anyone who is going to be traveling or planning something special, and I can't wait to share all of those tips with you. So if this is something that you would be interested in, you don't want to miss a minute of this video. So you might be saying, girl, I don't need no itinerary. I just want to be spontaneous. Well, sometimes when you're spontaneous, there are consequences. You may overspend, you may misappropriate funds, and sometimes you may unintentionally waste money. Now, who wants to do that? Not me. So let's dive right in so that I can tell you guys all about the itinerary and the process that I go through when I'm planning for trips, whether it's girls trip, whether it's an anniversary trip, or just plain vacation. So first thing is itinerary. What is it? What is an itinerary? An itinerary is a detailed list of places that you're going to be going, which also includes dates, a list of locations, or even your hotel or a place that you're going to be residing, or place of residence, as well as the transportation that you're going to be taking during your journey or trip. Well, an itinerary helps you to estimate the cost of your traveling beforehand. Knowing exactly how much you're going to spend makes it easier to plan out your budget and to make sure that you appropriate how you're going to travel from one place to the next effectively. So the big question is this: how am I going to put this itinerary together? No, I don't want to misappropriate funds. I don't want to spend money that I don't have, and I definitely don't want to unintentionally waste money that I could have been saving. How am I going to put this together? Well, so there are 10 tips that I want to give you that will help you to plan your itinerary. And these can be done in order, or you can move them around depending on your personal preference. So let's go ahead and dive in with tip number one. Tip number one is choose a destination. When you are trying to choose a destination, you want to make sure that you're considering how far you're going to be traveling, where you're going to go. Are there any vaccinations that are needed to travel to this place, or documentation like a passport? Those are very important questions that you want to ask yourself before you decide on a place. These questions can actually affect your budget, because if you have to get vaccinations, these cost money. So you definitely want to make sure that you are going to pick a place that is going to be conducive to the budget that you have set. Establish a budget. Most times individuals travel, they have no idea how much they're going to spend, they overspend, or they use money that they really don't have. When you set a budget for your trip, then you can go ahead and appropriate funds where they need to go, and you can make sure that you stick to the amount that you have set. That way you don't overspend, that way you don't spend money that you don't have, that way you know exactly how much money to take with you. After you set a budget, after you choose a destination and you set a budget, tip number 3 is that you want to go ahead and start doing your research. You actually want to do your research before you select your destination, but this type of research is very specific. You want to take a look at flights, the best time to travel, the cheapest flights. Also, you want to take a look at maybe some other avenues of travel. Maybe if you want to drive, how much that would cost. If you have to rent a vehicle, how much that would cost to get to your destination. Or what if you want to take the train? That is very important. Maybe your traveling vacation is on a cruise. So you definitely want to take a look at the best times to travel with that avenue. Tip number 4 is that you want to create a schematic outline of your trip. This is going to include some of the fun things that you actually want to do. You want to make sure that whatever plane tickets or flights that you decide that you want to actually purchase, that you're going to get an opportunity to have the best time frame to fly or travel. Are you going to leave in the morning? Are you going to leave late one night? All of that is important. And if there are certain things that you want to do, you need to make sure that those activities or events or places are going to be open during the time that you arrive to your destination. You definitely don't want to book a trip thinking that you're going to enjoy a all-inclusive spa when the spa prices go up during the weekends. If that is the case and you do your research, you may opt to pick a date during the week to travel and visit this spa so that you can get the best bang for your buck and save some coin. A schematic outline of your trip is going to be so helpful when it comes to budgeting, figuring out where you want to go, what time frame you want to be there, and how long you're going to stay. Tip number 5 is that you want to book or choose a hotel. I actually get an opportunity to do this way before we actually purchase flights, because I feel like it's very important to make sure that you have some place to stay once you reach your destination. It's kind of like the same mentality that you want to actually pay your mortgage first before you pay any of your other bills, because at least you always have a place to live even if the lights go out. Same type of mentality, but when I travel, I like to make sure that I choose a hotel and have that set in stone before I even book my plane ticket. This is tip number 5, by the way, so that may be something that you may decide to bump up on your list, kind of like what I do, but it's definitely a must that has to be done before you travel. I love using certain sites like hotwire.com or even Expedia to book cheaper hotels and flights at times. And these, even though this video is not sponsored, this is something that I just like to use. It is really a great idea to check out maybe a Hopper app to see when you can actually get the best deals on flights and hotels. You can even decide what star hotel you prefer to stay in and make sure that your hotel falls within that star range. Tip number 6 is that you want to decide how you're going to travel when you reach your destination from one place to the next, as well as how long this travel is going to take. When we did Girls Trip, so while we were on Girls Trip, we actually made sure that we had a list of all the locations that we wanted to visit, also the addresses of those locations and their operation hours, as well as the time frame of how long it would take us to get to and from our hotel to the location via car or even walking, so that we could figure out exactly how long it was going to take us to get there and maximize our route of travel. Now, also, you want to make sure that there are plenty options when you are transporting or traveling from one place to the other. You could actually rent a vehicle when you reach your destination city so that you can drive yourself, or you can Uber, which is a very cost-effective way of traveling while you're away. And you could also get an opportunity to take a Lyft or share a ride, even a taxi. So these are very important so that when you get an opportunity to get in the Uber, you know the addresses of where you're going to be going to, and you save a lot of time going from one place to the next, as well as money. 7 is that you want to actually find out sites, activities, events, things that you want to do in your city. For Girls Trip, what we did is we all brought something special to the table. Can you guys guess which event or activity that I really wanted to do that we got an opportunity to complete? Comment down below and let me know if you could figure out what activity from my Girls Trip that I myself brought to the table and suggested as an activity for us to participate in. So you want to definitely do this, especially if you're going on a trip with a group. You want to make sure that everyone's ideas and activities that they would like to include are heard, and that everyone gets an opportunity to select at least one activity that the group gets a chance to do. And that's exactly what my girlfriends and I did. We all brought activities to the table. We made sure that maybe a restaurant or even an activity that one of us suggested, that each one of us suggested, was on the itinerary. And we got an opportunity to select the locations of these places and activities that were going to be in close proximity to where we're going to be located. So that makes the trip exciting. That gives you something to look forward to, and it makes it so much more enjoyable when you get an opportunity to select a location and do something that you always wanted to do firsthand. Tip number 8 is very important. You definitely want to book and pay for activities in advance. That's exactly what the girls and I did for our girls trip. We went ahead and figured out what activities we wanted to do, and if we were able to go ahead and book a tour in advance, we wanted to go ahead and book that online and pay for it and have our tickets printed out and ready so that when we leave and get on the plane to travel to our destination, the majority of the trip is paid for. That saves headache, it saves money, and it saves time. Because most times, if you do get an opportunity to book things and pay for them right out in advance, you actually get a better deal. So with that being the case, you also can pay for these activities in advance so that while you're traveling, the only thing that you're bringing with you is either maybe a credit card or even shopping money to take care of food and activities that you're going to do spontaneously while you're on the trip. Tip number 9 is create a packing list. This is definitely a very important tip because if you will be flying and your tickets only include that you could take a carry-on, it's going to be very important that you make sure that you only pack travel items with you. If you're going to be traveling for a long period of time, you don't want to be loaded down with a lot of luggage. You want to be very meticulous about the things that you pack. Create a list so you won't leave anything out. Check it twice and make sure that you have everything that you need for a successful trip. Also, even if there are things that you don't have or that you may have forgotten, sometimes the hotels always have some packs where you could get some some toothpaste, a toothbrush, even a comb, maybe even a shower cap. And there's most times a Walmart nearby where you could go in and pick up some shampoo, deodorant, or any of those necessities that you just have to have that you forgot to pack. But creating a packing list can also help you to avoid forgetting any of these items. Tip 10 is that you want to tackle any last minute logistics when it comes to your trip. You want to finalize your itinerary. You want to check a few things twice. Make sure that you have your receipts or your tickets for all of the events and activities that you have already booked. Make sure that you have your flight plans as well as your flight number and your boarding pass. Make sure you have your passport or even your driver's license if you're going to be flying. Make sure that you have your credit card if you want to rent a car, and cash on hand in case of emergency. Very, very important. And extra bonus tip is relax. You are prepared. You have done what you have ought to do. So make sure that you have a great time. Be spontaneous. And make sure that you are able to be flexible. Enjoy your trip. If something happens along the way, don't get upset. Stay in the moment. Have a blast. So you guys, since I was able to share these 10 and a bonus tip, 11 tips with you guys about how to plan an itinerary, I wanted to give you a closer look at the itinerary that the girls and I created for a girls trip. I actually created a girls trip itinerary video where I actually created something very fun to put in my planner to remind me of girls trip, and I'm going to link that video here using my blank filler paper. But we actually had something a little more formal that was typed out, and I can't wait to show you right here on my tablet. So let's head on to my desk so that we can go ahead and take a closer look, and I can go ahead and reiterate some of the things that I just mentioned. Alright guys, so this is my tablet, and the reason I'm actually showing you the girls trip itinerary on my tablet is because I really wanted you to get an idea of the schematic layout of the places that we're going to be visiting and how we laid it out on the itinerary. So as you can see, I have the date and the location there for each of the days, as well as timestamps as to our estimated time of arrival for certain locations, activities, and events. Also addresses, because we did decide to do an Uber pool, so the addresses are there so that we will have them as a quick reference to plug them in when it's time to go somewhere, as well as a general idea of the timestamp as to when we're going to be doing certain things. This is actually the first typed out version of the itinerary. And then I'm going to actually show you the second version that actually has the mileage as to how far from X to Z, location X to Y, and then Y to Z. And so that will be something that's very good. And then also, in case I decided that I wanted to repeat the trip, maybe with my husband as an anniversary trip, or maybe 10 years down the line when we want to do like a finale for girls trip, or if I just wanted to go back, I like having the websites there so that I would be able to purchase, you know, my tickets if I'm going to the Capitol Wheel, or even schedule my tours if I wanted to go back to the African American Museum, as well as the phone number if I needed to call, had any questions. And so as you can see here, this one tells us that it's 4 minutes away from the hotel. And the reason is because this is a franchise business and we wanted to get the one that was closest to our location so that we could save time and funds. And so this is the part 1 of my itinerary that we put together. There's also a part 2 that has all of the timestamps on it. And then there's also the final itinerary, which I'm not going to show at this time. Once we had that situated, I wanted to show you guys the second thing that we did. So this is actually our second version. And yes, it has writing all over it because when we decided to go ahead and map out our finalized itinerary, it was necessary for us to swap some things around because we had done some extra research on the locations that we were going to be visiting, and we had to tweak a few things. First thing was our hotel. And so what we did is, since we had already known what things we were going to actually accomplish or get a chance to do each day, we got a chance to go ahead and map out what the time frame was going to be like. So if you pay attention here, the Fashion Center Mall at the Pentagon City was 1.1 mile from the hotel, which meant that we actually were able to take our hotel shuttle to that destination and get dropped off. And then wherever we decided to do, after that, we could Uber, which actually saved our Uber pool. And I just wanted to show you guys what we put together for as far as the itinerary. If you guys want to see the finalized itinerary that has the time frames as to how far away things were and where we actually visited, make sure you comment down below. I have no problem going ahead and showing you guys what the itinerary for girls trip was for our DC trip in 2019 on my Instagram. But I want to make sure that I end this video properly, so we're going to head on over back to the face-to-face view so that I can end this video on the right track. You guys, thank you so much for getting an opportunity to see the girls trip itinerary from 2019. Make sure you head on over to the gift exchange video if you hadn't watched it already to see exactly how I planned out the gift exchange for girls trip and how we actually participated in it. We had a blast for girls trip. I cannot wait until we travel to our next destination for girls trip for 2020. You guys, make sure that you are planning your wonderful staycations, your vacations, and making sure that you plan diligently so that you can be successful in all of your plans. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.